some money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Shane McMahon is a character. He is a character with a gimmick just like any act in the professional wrestling universe. His character and gimmick has always been the boss's son. He has never been portrayed as a true professional wrestler who was wrestling solely to win championships, especially after 2016. Any story he's ever been a part of has stemmed from the fact that he's Vince McMahon's son or from the fact that he was a general manager or the main authority figure for a show. With that said, you can argue he's robbed a few legit wrestlers of a big-time WrestleMania match when you consider his WrestleMania opponents and the time that's allocated to his WrestleMania matches. This video is not meant to take a bunch of dumps on Shane McMahon's pro wrestling career. The totality of his pro wrestling career will be defined by his takeover of WCW along with his reckless, selfless, and destructive mindset in the ring that led to plenty of unforgettable moments. His death-defying hardcore match with Steve Blackman, his ambulance match with Kane, and his street fight with Kurt Angle, just to name a few. He is certainly one of the most underrated hardcore and extreme competitors in wrestling history. His portfolio of work in the early 2000s is confirmation of that sentiment. Even Dave Meltzer thought Shane's street fight against 55-year-old Vince McMahon at WrestleMania X7 was worth 3 stars. He will always be given the respect he deserves for being a professional worker and for being a competitor who's willing to do the things that a small portion of people in pro wrestling and in human history are willing to do just to entertain some fans. Shane never needed to jump that high or never needed to take that ridiculous bump. He was always going to be fine career-wise, but he did anyway for us. However, you can argue that seeing him jump off of 20-foot cells during and after 2016 would have done more bad for professional wrestling history and pro wrestling fans than good. It was hard to watch these moments after he returned because a man in his mid-50s was taking such high risks for little reward from fans due to the ugly creative surrounding the 6 to 10 second moment of Shane doing something ridiculous. So, in this video, we're going to cut those moments out of professional wrestling history. We're going to completely erase and replace Shane McMahon from WrestleMania history starting from WrestleMania 32 and beyond. We're going to choose better opponents and a better story to tell for his WrestleMania opponents post 2016. The first WrestleMania opponent for Shane McMahon at a WrestleMania upon his return to WWE was arguably the most criminal of all the Shane McMahon matches at WrestleMania. Vince booked Shane McMahon to wrestle Undertaker at WrestleMania 32 inside Hell in a Cell. Vince decided that if Shane somehow managed to win, then he would take full control of Raw and SmackDown, and Undertaker would be barred from competing at WrestleMania ever again. And if you look up the word unnecessary in the professional wrestling dictionary, a picture of Shane McMahon falling to his demise onto an Undertaker-less announcer's table is shown. Undertaker was booked against Giant Gonzalez at WrestleMania 9, and he wrestled A-Train and Big Show in a handicap match at WrestleMania 19, but this match is the dumbest. Undertaker at WrestleMania 32 deserves much better. Of course, he's a professional, so he's not going to cause a stir, the same way he didn't cause a stir when he pulled up to the Superdome in New Orleans for WrestleMania 34 ready to wrestle a 20-minute classic against John Cena, only to be told it was going to be a 3-minute squash match. He's just not a shit stir. In a perfect world, we'd keep Undertaker undefeated up until this WrestleMania, and we'd give the streak to Roman Reigns via heel turn, or Bray Wyatt for the World Championship inside Hell in a Cell, or Undertaker versus Kevin Owens for the Intercontinental Championship inside Hell in a Cell. However, we do not live in a perfect world, and we have to work with what we have. Undertaker had just finished beating Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 31, but he still does have that one blemish on his record. Undertaker is not walking out of WrestleMania 32 as a loser. It would have been harder to make this decision before April of 2016, but we know Undertaker was healthy for WrestleMania 33, so we're doing it. Undertaker is going to face Roman Reigns inside Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania 32. Whoever wins the match is going to receive a World Championship match of their choosing for WrestleMania 33. Triple H is going to face Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose in a triple threat main event match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Vince would book Brock to win, we're booking Dean Ambrose to win. The other option was Undertaker versus Kevin Owens for the Intercontinental Championship, but Undertaker doesn't wrestle again until WrestleMania 33, so we won't have Undertaker vacate the championship right after winning it. The reason for this change is very simple. Roman Reigns was not over. He wasn't even close to over around this time. His dud of a main event with Triple H left a huge stain on what turned out to be an overall dud of a WrestleMania. A dud WrestleMania that could have been been saved by a fun main event World Championship match. If he isn't over, he shouldn't be in the main event of WrestleMania. The main event of WrestleMania is not used to hopefully get someone over, it's used to award someone for doing all the work to get super over. After losing his WWE World Heavyweight Championship in the Royal Rumble match that year, Vince McMahon and Triple H tell Roman Reigns to his face that he's just not ready. Shane McMahon returns to WWE to tell Roman Reigns that he's not ready for the big stage yet. Seth Rollins makes an appearance on Raw just to tell Roman Reigns that he'll never have a WrestleMania moment like the one he had a year prior. Then Undertaker returns to tell Roman Reigns that everyone is saying this for a reason. Undertaker tells Roman Reigns that whether or not if what these people are saying is true or not, he should still use it as an opportunity to look at himself in the mirror and see how you can improve. Roman Reigns whacks Undertaker once, and realizing what he had done, he just leaves the ring. Then he spends the weeks leading up to WrestleMania trying to prove himself to Undertaker as a winner. Undertaker is never satisfied with Roman's work. Vince McMahon intrudes by introducing the WrestleMania 33 stipulation, but also keeping the original stipulation of Undertaker being barred from competing at WrestleMania if he loses. Shane McMahon aligns with his father throughout the story. Then, when the entire pro wrestling world assumes Roman Reigns is going to go over, because of course he is, Undertaker wins and earns a WrestleMania 33 World Championship match. He's going to win clean because Roman Reigns legitimately wasn't ready yet. And then, if you really feel like it, you can have Roman Reigns walk into WrestleMania 33 as world champion to face Undertaker again, but as a heel. How about that? WrestleMania 33, Shane McMahon versus AJ Styles. This feud and match had a very low floor and a high ceiling, meaning this match could have been anything. It was a surprise to some people when the bell rang and no stipulation was ever added to the match. According to Dave Meltzer, Shane McMahon wrestled a 4-star WrestleMania match in a loss against the phenomenal AJ Styles. A lot of credit goes to Shane McMahon, of course, but if it was Shane versus Roman or Baron Corbin, this match would have been much worse. AJ Styles is one of the best. While the match was a fun match to watch, it doesn't mean that there wasn't a better match in the story available for Styles. And while the story that's chosen will never happen and therefore can't be proven to be a better story than this real story that happened with Shane, we can take a pretty good guess considering how well this match already was with Shane in it. AJ Styles is going to face Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental Championship in a no disqualification 30-minute Iron Man match. Baron Corbin is going to wrestle in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal again. The original Shane versus Styles match was 20 minutes and Baron Corbin's original match with Dean Ambrose was 10 minutes, so they have the time. Dean Ambrose hasn't forgotten about the way Styles beat him for the WWE World Championship at Backlash 2016. Ambrose, as Intercontinental Champion, handpicks AJ Styles as his opponent by attacking him after Styles had just lost his #1 contenders match against Randy Orton on SmackDown. The blow-up scene at Gorilla with Styles and Shane is replaced with this scene instead. Dean Ambrose is going to retain the Intercontinental Championship by low-blowing AJ Styles twice, poking him in the eyes, and rolling him up while holding the tights around the 16-minute mark, confirming a heel turn. Dean Ambrose injures AJ Styles' leg shortly after. Styles manages to connect a Styles Clash phenomenal forearm combination still, but the clock expired as he was attempting the pinfall to tie the match to be able to send it into sudden death overtime. Ambrose versus Styles as a mid-card feud for the next few months is much better than the stuff he was doing with the Intercontinental Championship that year. And we get a double turn at WrestleMania. WrestleMania 34, Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Let's get on this roller coaster. In the full Undertaker career rebooking that's in the media section of this account's Twitter account at Zero Pro Wrestling, we had Undertaker facing Daniel Bryan in a one-on-one match at WrestleMania 34. We also had Cena wrestling Kurt Angle or Kevin Owens instead. We'll switch it up this time so Daniel Bryan wins in his return match. Instead of announcing on social media that Daniel Bryan is cleared to wrestle, Daniel Bryan is going to answer John Cena's call for a match at WrestleMania. We're going to book Daniel Bryan's return similar to how WWE booked Brock Lesnar's return to Monday Night Raw. John Cena will call out The Undertaker after losing all the opportunities for a match at WrestleMania 34. Daniel Bryan will answer on Monday Night Raw. The match will be booked for WrestleMania 34 and the winner will receive a future World Championship match. Daniel Bryan will win and immediately be placed back in the main event scene instead of dealing with Big Cass. Shane McMahon will call on the Brothers of Destruction to handle Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Kane wrestled in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at this show, but now he'll be wrestling Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn inside Hell in a Cell in a Tornado Tag Team match. Undertaker was in shape to wrestle a classic this year. Kane wrestled at Crown Jewel later in this same year, so this should be easy enough enough for him to get through. In our pro wrestling universe, Roman Reigns lost his Universal Championship to Undertaker in the main event of WrestleMania 33 after Undertaker had beat Reigns at WrestleMania 32. If the Brothers of Destruction win, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn would be fired from SmackDown. If Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn win, Shane McMahon would be fired. In a perfect world, we would have this be Shane McMahon's last day as a general manager, but he ended up sticking around as SmackDown Commissioner throughout the year. He stays SmackDown Commissioner long enough to become the best in the world later in the year, so we'll just have Undertaker pin Sami Zayn clean in a fun story of a wrestling match between the two sides. Shane McMahon's absence really changes a lot. WrestleMania 35, Shane McMahon versus The Miz. This was another match that created a somewhat memorable moment when The Miz and Shane did a big superplex into a table. Shane McMahon actually won this match. The match took 15 minutes and the story made sense as the two were SmackDown Tag Team Champions shortly before this WrestleMania, but it still didn't need to happen. That's 15 minutes that could have been distributed across the rest of the show. When you look at the rest of the card, it's probably best for this match to just happen, but The Miz would win clean in this alternate universe. To satisfy the point of this video, we'd probably have to insert The Miz into the US Championship match involving Samoa Joe and Rey Mysterio to make it a triple threat match. Instead of the match being under 1 minute, it turns into an entertaining 12 to 15 minute United States Championship match that also crowns a #1 contender to the WWE Championship. Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan are going to cost Samoa Joe the WWE World Championship at Money in the Bank when Samoa Joe faces Kevin Owens and WWE Champion Kofi Kingston. They'll start a US Championship feud. Daniel Bryan versus Samoa Joe, that's fun. Shane McMahon and The Miz actually had a steel cage match at Money in the Bank that Shane McMahon also managed to win. Ridiculous. WrestleMania 37, Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman inside a steel cage. This match felt forced. Shane wasn't on television consistently in 2020, so for him to start randomly belittling Braun Strowman and calling him stupid was odd. Braun Strowman is going to join the United States Championship story instead. Sheamus originally beat Matt Riddle at WrestleMania 37 to win the US Championship in a 10-minute match. This time the story is going to be about Matt Riddle conquering two giants at WrestleMania. This match is going to be longer than 10 minutes now that Shane McMahon isn't here, and Matt Riddle is going to make Braun Strowman tap out to retain the United States Championship. We need to make stars, and it's much more realistic to see Matt Riddle tap out Braun than to pin him. That's gonna do it. Now's a great time to remind you that Shane McMahon wrestled a career versus career ladder match against Kevin Owens on the Fox premiere of Friday Night SmackDown. Do you remember that? So, we did it. We plucked Shane McMahon out of post-2016 WrestleMania history. Undertaker retires with only one WrestleMania loss. Daniel Bryan faced John Cena in his WrestleMania return match. Undertaker wrestled a real wrestling match at WrestleMania 34. Braun Strowman taps out to Matt Riddle. Roman Reigns may have gotten over with the crowd 2 or 3 years earlier, and Dean Ambrose will have won the WWE World Championship in the main event of WrestleMania 32 against Triple H and Brock Lesnar, all because we plucked Shane McMahon out of post-2016 WrestleMania history.